We're looking at Imago Dei and three things. We're looking at the original intent of Imago Dei. We looked at that the first 3 days of the week. We're going to turn and shift and look at the broken condition of Imago Dei. And then tomorrow we'll check out and talk about the restored connection to Imago Dei. So remember our rules, context, context, context. When we read the scriptures, including Genesis 1, we need to remember that even though the fall doesn't happen until Genesis 3, those reading the text are already a part of the broken system. They are, in fact, they have seen it vividly, up front and personal, up front and close. They were slaves in Egypt. So when we think about the broken Imago Dei, all of them, when they read Genesis 1 and read that man was made in the image of God, they would recognize that Selim, the Hebrew word for image, that concept was there was only one human demigod. Demigod means half human, half God. There was only one representative. There's only one representative, and it was the royal representative of Pharaoh. And this was true not only of Egypt, the situational context, but it was also true of Syria and Babylon. The other ancient cultures also carried this this sense that there were images made, and sometimes there were human images, and sometimes they were statues. Remember, I said that statue was one of the major translations of Selim. And so they would see an image and they would worship that image, or they would see a royal figure and worship that royal figure because they represented God. So now Genesis 1 happens and they're told that they are royal representatives. So massively true, amazing. We see that not only in the situational ancient, but also the biblical context. By the time we get to the New Testament, the Apostle Paul, writing to the Romans, who, remember, the Romans came along after, remember this history? The Romans came along after the Greeks. The Greeks came in after the Persians. The Persians came in after the Babylonians. And so all these rulers represented some deity, including Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, we don't think of Alexander the Great as a god, but the culture did. Not at first. His mother told him after his father was assassinated that his real father was Zeus, the god Zeus, Greek mythology. And then he goes to Egypt, and a seer tells him that he can become Pharaoh and be the son of Anun. And so, literally, Alexander the Great, as he and Egypt was just surrendered over to him, but as he comes into the Egyptian culture, they make him Pharaoh. They make him Pharaoh because they're currently being ruled by Persia. They don't like that, and Alexander the Great promises them liberation, so they make him Pharaoh. So he becomes a god to the Egyptians. Then you've got Rome conquering the Greeks. And in Rome, what do we know of Caesar? Caesar was a demigod. They believed he was part God and part man. So it runs through the entire culture. So the Apostle Paul, Romans chapter 1, verse 22 to 25 says, though they claim to be wise, and every Pharaoh and every leader, I guarantee you, claim to be wise. Though they claim to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the image of the immortal God for images, there's our word image, made to look like mortal man and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore, God gave them over to their sinful desires, the sinful desires of their heart, because they exchanged the truth of God, who God really was, for a lie. Get this. and worshiped and served created things rather than the Creator. You see, in the whole broken system, then and now, we want creation. We just don't want the Creator. We want kingdom, but we just don't want the King. And in so rejecting God, the broken system leaves Imago Dei broken as well. Sorry plight on the condition of human hearts apart from God. But the good news is that God sent Jesus, the perfect image of God, to address the broken condition of Imago Dei. He sends the perfect image of God. Colossians 1 reminds us of that. Colossians 3 reminds us of that. Ephesians 4 reminds us of that we are renewed in knowledge in the image of our Creator. The good news is God reaches into this broken system and He wants to connect us, reconnect us as royal representatives. Lord Jesus, we recognize, Lord, as we look around us that yes, oh my gosh, the world around us from Tel Aviv to the Ukraine to China to our own backyard, we are obsessed with dominating others, ruling over instead of ruling with. Rather than being generous, we're stingy. Rather than being good, we're bad. Rather than having speech that builds up, it tears down. God, truly, there's a broken image. We confess, Lord, that we are vulnerable to the effects of the broken image. And we ask for your healing, restorative power to be at work in us. Rekindle in us, Lord, a passion to represent you well, your royal representatives. I hope today you are encouraged that in this broken system, you're the bridge. You're being made in His likeness. You're being conformed. That's spiritual formation. God's making you more like Him, so you will be a bridge. So be a bridge today. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.